The following program is a fan-made review and reaction show. It is in no way affiliated with the Movie Trivia Schmoedown or Skybound Entertainment.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the inaugural episode of the Ultimate Schmoedown Show here on Outlaw Nation. My name is John Barr. I'm the host for this week. I am joined by my co-hosts Bogz and Colin. Gentlemen, happy Friday. How are we doing?
Excellent. Absolute pleasure to be here. Can't wait to get into things. All the way from the UK, so I'm up late here, but let's do it.
All the way down here in South Carolina, and we are ready to talk some Schmoedown. I've been waiting for this all week, John.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to say you're going to wait a little bit more because before we can get too deep into these matches, we got to get a little bit deep into ourselves. Who the heck are we? Are we the Outlaws? We got to figure this out real quick. So let's just do a quick little once round with introductions. Starting with you, Bogz. How's the UK doing? How you been?
It's all right. It's super rainy. It's been raining for the last 3-4 days, so it's really kind of dreary. So everyone's been staying in even more. So luckily, we've had a lot of matches to keep us entertained. So yeah, been staying in, but obviously a lot to watch.
Fair enough, yeah. And how did you first find out about the Schmoedown?
So basically, I initially got into it via the Star Wars matches. So I used to watch Jedi Council a lot, and I noticed they used to compete in this kind of Star Wars tournament, and I noticed Sam Witwer and Freddie Prinze Jr. and against kind of guests on the show like Ken, John Campea, etc. So that's what initially got me in. And then I did see one of the guests that I particularly used to like being on the show because he used to show kind of loads of passion and enthusiasm. And I seen a thumbnail of he was wearing a hat and a mask, and it said singles. So I thought, oh, okay, do you guys, what does that mean? So I clicked it, and I watched his intro. And he's come out with obviously like a mask on and the hat, and he's throwing these 5 things up and he's shouting at the crowd. People are coming on camera and booing him. I'm thinking, what is going off here? He was so polite and and well respected on the show, and now he's getting booed. What's this about? And his opponent comes out. Obviously that was John Rocha I'm talking about, the Outlaw, and yeah, obviously. And his opponent comes out and he's even crazier than him. He's even more, he's louder. He's even more enthusiastic. And that was Scott Mance, and he comes out with, the Star Trek theme and the phaser, and and it was just what went down. And then I got it. Then okay, right, they're battling. It's like a Clint Eastwood against a Captain Kirk. So yeah, and then obviously comes to the best spin question. So that was my first match, the best spin match, and I've watched everything kind of retrospectively after that. But yeah, the best spin miss was like, I couldn't believe it. I thought, was this is this fake? Like, surely, like, he would know what the best thing the question is, right? He's a producer on Jedi Council, surely he would get that. But yeah, I've come to understand the personalities and everything, and then I saw they do teams. So I think my first team match was like top 10 against Team Trek, and I kind of watched it backwards from there. But that's how I initially got into it. So it was around when the Last Jedi came out. So it was like the build up to that. I was watching Jedi Council before that, so it was around that time, and yeah, I've been hooked since.
For sure, nice man, nice. Yeah, what about you, Colin? When did you first hop in?
Well, I had to go back and find the dates, but it looks like it goes all the way back to like season 1, in between season 1 and season 2. Like watching, I think the first match I watched or listened to, I guess, would have been Team Box Office Breakdown versus Team Geek. So that would have been JTE and Finstock versus John Campea and Tiffany Smith. And so if Bobby Finstock's in your first Schmoedown match, it's like, how do you not you are either completely repelled by what you are watching and you will not come back. Have been offended. You have filed a complaint with HR, or you are completely hooked. And here I am, completely hooked.
There you go, yeah. I definitely, it sounded like I'm probably the newest fan to the league. I started watching tail end of season 5. I started my first match actually. I don't know how many folks have been rewatching this one, but my first match was Funhouse versus Kind of Funny. It was that intro teams match that preceded Mance versus Ben Bateman. And I just watched that because I was watching those guys first as just like my own little aside. Found out about the Schmoedown, and then of course following up their fun match with that huge like movie slice drama between Mance and Bateman. That was another one where I was like, all right, I'm getting it now. I'm understanding everything that's going on, and I was hooked. So yeah, I mean, we all know our stuff. I think it's fair to say. So when I tell you, as someone who knows my stuff, that we had a hell of a week this week in the Schmoedown, you know that it was a good week. We had 5 very good matches. We're finally through all the play-in matches for the 2 tournaments that are happening right now. We had 5 great matches that we all got to see. If you guys had to say what was your favorite of the ones that we got. Let's start with Colin, I guess, on that one. If I had to guess, I think I know the answer, but what was your favorite?
Well, I mean, definitely Scrimshaw and Dimalanta was just a treat. Just an absolute treat. And, won't dive into the details of why specifically it was a treat. But I was thoroughly entertained and I was thoroughly challenged on a couple questions. And I love when I'm like, when I get smacked in the face by a question, it feels good.
Yeah. And when they get the answer is the best thing.
Boom. And then you're like, you threw the punch too. Got it.
Yeah. They knock you out. Yeah.
Boom.
Oh yeah. You get punched in the face and you thank them for it. What about you, Bogz? Would you say also your favorite?
Definitely that one. So I'm a Star Wars guy. It's my kind of favorite franchise. So I'm most looking forward to the Star Wars tournament. And I watch Dimalanta's his YouTube channel, his streaming channel. So I was keeping an eye on him, and I do listen to the Force Center podcast as well from Scrimshaw. I do like them both, but I just wanted I was backing Dimalanta, to be honest. So I was looking forward to that all week, but obviously the rest is just a pure treat.
Oh yeah, that match definitely delivered. I will say I definitely love that match. I was also a big fan of what we got with Brandon Hanna versus Saul, the match that just came out a couple hours ago. That was intense. That's really the spiciest you can get, I think, on the Schmoedown, because you saw a little bit of that in that match. And that's actually going to be the first match that we dig into. So let's really get into this match.
Mm-hmm.
I think the promos were great. If we talk about that, the week of promos leading up was just phenomenal. And I don't know, has anyone been dragged through the Schmoedown quite like Brandon Hanna? Like, from show to show, just taking licks on licks. I mean, dude gets drilled by Smets, like, just come on. Like, everything with Kate and all the drama leading up. I mean, and it delivered.
Yeah. Christian used to say, I don't know what to do with this guy. Until he wins, we can't get him involved storyline wise, But, he stepped up. Let's be honest, he stepped up. Talking about the intros, though. Robin Meyer Burnett, he cuts a good intro. I do like his overall personality and, the jackets that he wears and stuff. So obviously it's a shame what's happened and stuff, but, I'm going to miss him, definitely.
So we'll see.
For sure, happens. As far as the match itself, that was, pretty intense. I don't know if there are any questions that you guys were like in the back of your head where you're like, I know this one. My personal favorite question of the match, I would have to say, is that one of the multiple choice ones that Hanna had to mention with the name of the assassin in Fantastic Beasts, Crimes of Grindelwald. That was one because I was, I've not seen that movie, but in my head, when I saw that multiple choice pop up, I was like, all right, what's the dumbest possible name that J.K. Rowling would come up with?
Would be in J.K. Rowling. That's exactly what
I was just like, well, obviously it's the guy with the name Gunn.
It's got to be an alliteration, too. She loves a good alliteration, and she can't stay away.
It was, and that was, that was an intense match, too. I think it's weird to talk about.
It was 10-9 after round 1.
I felt gutted for Saul as well, how disappointed he was. I was like, because he kept doing it. He kept shaking his head, or I was like, don't let it get to you, man. Don't let it get to you. But I do like Hanna's intensity that he had with him. He took it serious. He's like, I need to back up my talk now, and he did. Yeah, perfect round. And so, yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I think we can all agree that based on where Hanna was at going into this match, he kind of needed to win a little bit more than Saul did. but in no way, of course. And you can see it in like Christian's face and Mark's face, everybody being very supportive of Saul because he put on a heck of a show. Like definitely, Saul should not feel any shame for how he performed in that match. It was a tough one, man. I mean, that inner geekdom.
Yeah,
it's
his debut, And
I have written down like Saul can ball. Like I have it written down like Saul can ball. Like he can hang, and that's that's important. And Kate even mentions that at the end of the match when she's being interviewed. She said, "Look, I mean, this guy. If you're so good, Hanna, like this guy was only 3 points off of you. It wasn't a TKO. He didn't knock him out. It was only a 3-point game. So let's maybe back the game talking off a little bit, and let's let this guy play a little more and see what's up. Because I mean, he's got the energy, he's got the poise. You can tell it got to him in the same way that Bespin got to Rocha, and comes back. You could tell if we are sitting here in what is it, Iridium?
Yeah, it was tough. He didn't use any repeats as well.
If this dude comes back and has like an Arc Reactor shirt on for every Inner Geekdom match, he's like, I'm never letting this ever kill me again. Didn't kill Tony Stark, won't kill me. Like Palladium. Like that'd be pretty good. Like they're set up for some good stuff here.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was unlucky, but I think Hanna did deserve to win though. He was a bit more experienced, slightly better player just because of how much it meant for him, and but yeah.
Did he guess Slingshot?
That's a very good question. I mean, it seemed like it. I don't know. Maybe it's that Ben Bateman influence coming back where he just likes to sit on it and pretend a little bit. But I mean,
I didn't feel the Bateman cockiness that you feel when Bateman's like looking at you like, he's like, I know this one. He looked like, I don't know, Slingshot. And then he's like, and that's correct. And Mark's like, that's correct. And we just move on to the next question. But
that's the difference a pair of sunglasses makes, is that it's a little bit easier to tell.
So true.
On Hanna's face. Now, I will say, I think we're all agreeing that, it was great to see Saul play. It was great to see Brandon Hanna get that win. This does put the Den in a little bit of a tougher spot because right now, with Saul out of the Inner Geekdom tournament and with the Den's Star Wars player now out of the Star Wars tournament with Sean Sullivan, that means right now the Den's only player that's active in these tournaments right now is Ben Goddard, who is a good player, to be sure, but is now going to be facing Robert Parker in his next Inner Geekdom match. And that, I mean, if you want to talk about Inner Geekdom rookies, oh boy, that's going to be an uphill battle.
I mean, if you had to take my money and put it on two people for Rookie of the Year, right now, it's those two guys. And until somebody else
I'd throw Barbarian in there as well, to be honest. I would throw Barbarian in there.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. We'll talk about him later for sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, let's
talk about him.
Yeah, let's see who's best. Let's see who earns that Rookie of the Year. So let's see what Parker's got. People calling him. He can beat Smets now. Let's see. He's going to be a good test.
Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and talk about our second match now. The first of the Star Wars matches we're going to be discussing. That would be Molly Damon versus Adam Witt. The usual suspects versus the Dungeon. Challenges out the wazoo, round one. But I mean, it's one of those things where it's like when you're in a tournament like Star Wars with that much minutia at play, it's kind of hard to fault them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
especially after how the first match ended. No spoilers, right? Until we get to it. Like, especially with how it was the detail. It was detail oriented, and like I said, it felt like the last 2 minutes of it, like an NBA game, except it was the first 2 minutes. Yeah. And it took forever just to get through the first
long round
questions.
one. Yeah, it was a long round one.
By the time we get through round one, we start picking it up into a regular match, and it was a great match.
Yeah, it was good. I like Witt's, just his whole passion. His love for Star Wars. I was talking about it. I know obviously Molly's got her own channel and everything, so she probably does it there. But I do like him explaining his background into it and things like that. So it did make me feel. I was kind of backing him just on the pure passion aspect.
Sure.
He kind of reminds me of Harrison Ford too. He kind of like the way he was, like the way his hair was cut. It definitely was throwing off some Harrison Ford vibes. Yeah, definitely. I was digging.
Yeah. And that 5-pointer he pulled before, obviously when he lost, I thought, he's got the knowledge. Can he do it? But yeah, it was a tough match.
It was tough. I mean, especially like with that, second challenge that he wound up losing. It was tough because when you hear him explain, he's, kind of talking about like, well, I guess what I'm asking is like, what exactly the question says. That's when you're like, shoot, that's just like, if anything, that's kind of a rules thing because it's like, it sounds like probably a JTE rule would have been better than a challenge. And, unlike what Kaiser was thinking at first, that is the thing that you get 3 of, not challenges.
Kaiser didn't have a clue. He's like, yeah, we'll challenge you.
Kaiser was still trying to figure out what Jedi were exactly.
Yeah. But
I love Molly's promo. That I thought was great. I know we're on the internet, so I'll tread lightly on the words "Last Jedi" and Succession, but but when he grabs the necklace off, I thought that was pretty cool. That was a nice little thing. Yeah. And they always do great stuff over at Star Wars Explained, so you knew that they were gonna find some way to get in on the fun.
I quite liked as well the manager debate as well with Kaiser and Sam. It was just funny watching them.
They got great energy.
Yeah. Especially Sam as well. Even after the match, talking to the fans and things like that.
He's always on. He can never turn it off. Sam is always Sam. He's always gonna do his thing.
Yeah, he's got quite dark humor, and you gotta be smart to pick it all up. But
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it was a solid match. Big ups to Molly, Damon, and to the usual suspects staying in there. Obviously, it's a tough loss for the Dungeon to lose their Star Wars player for that tournament, but right now they still have, hypothetically, both of their Inner Geekdom players in that tournament, as long as, Robert Parker and Emily Rose Jacobson are able to hang in there. We'll see how that goes, but we are going to hop back over to the Inner Geekdom to talk about Bogz. You were saying one of your picks for Rookie of the Year, Barbarian versus Hlavac. This was one where when I was making my bracket, I wasn't sure who to put here. I did wind up giving a little bit of that edge to Barbarian. Yeah. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. What about you, Bogz? I mean, as someone who's really big into Barbarian right now.
Same kind of thing, because his Hlavac is hit and miss. He's either really on it or he has weak points which they exploited, which I really liked, by the way, because that's Gucci. That's twice now that he's in this 1 week showed his tactics and shows why the Finstock Exchange is on top, because these guys got tactics. Certain other managers who, what was fascinating as well, we actually saw and heard what they discuss, which we've never done before. So you can actually hear them say, obviously we'll come to the match later, but Koi addressing, helping out Alba to say, oh no, MCU is more general and DCEU is more specific. He's actually given them an indication based on your prep, which way you want to go, and kind of Finstock to we know his weak spot, so let's target him, and so it paid off.
Oh yeah, I mean this match really was a testament to how interesting the Inner Geekdom tournament can be, because neither Barbarian nor Hlavac got the port key question, which I was like, oh come on, of course. But then, every question in that Lord of the Rings category, like the 5-pointer that Hlavac managed to get with the book gift in Aquaman, I was like, oh, it's done. I'm so sorry, Adam. And he had that? Like, oh, my goodness.
Because they missed the Lord of the Rings question, like you said, and I swear that's been asked before. I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, no, they've been going back through some of the classic questions now just because we're at that point.
I was quite surprised, yeah. Quite surprised. But yeah, like you said, great 5-point pull.
Classic Bobby Gucci, just going right for Robert Parker too, just calling him right out.
He was dancing when he got the opponent's choice.
Yeah,
this guy. Yeah, he's too funny.
Constantly entertained. And I wrote some before the match started. I mean, when you compare the rosters, Swag definitely has the talent. You're looking at like a really, really, really good team. But then when you look at the Finstock Exchange, it's like looking at the Patriots who have been to the Super Bowl and have gone through the playoffs. Right. And they're thoroughbreds. They know what they're doing. And to be able to pass that knowledge on to a guy who seems to be unfazed. Yeah.
But they said he's learning from them.
Exactly. To be able to merge that kind of, Barbarian doesn't seem to get nervous on camera. And maybe we'll
The
see
whole time.
that
The whole
exactly,
game is
exactly.
like this.
And maybe we'll see that being in these fan leagues and having this experience that we're having right now, being able to, do it from the comfort of your own home. We'll see what happens when some of these guys get in front of the lights. Maybe we'll start to see, maybe there is something about playing at home, being comfortable, that guys like Robert Parker and Smets might have they might have an advantage coming down later the road.
It's less pressure sometimes at home, not the lights aren't there, people aren't shouting at you, people aren't booing, whispers of the crowd, things like that. So that kind of thing.
Yeah, and if nothing else, this match, especially with Barbarian's little pet fur, is just a testament to how important emotional support animals are. They're great, big fan all around. They're the real heroes. You know 100%. What I mean?
Agreed.
All right, let's move on to our next match, the final Inner Geekdom match that we're going to be talking about today. Warfather versus Greg Alba. Now, I don't know how you guys feel, but these two, to me, are two of the most entertaining dudes in the league right now. And this match absolutely delivered on entertainment. Let's start with you, Colin. What were you thinking about this match?
Well, first off, I just love the Real Rejects in general. Their reactions to most things they're usually the first ones up. I'm an East Coast guy. I wake up early. They somehow wake up super early on the West Coast and pump out reactions that are up at like 8, 9 a.m. over here my time. So always loved Greg. And he was on fire. There's just sometimes...
Stepped up, he did. Another guy that stepped up.
Just pedal to the metal, didn't stop, knew the answers, knew he knew the answers, and that's the kind of performance I really get jived about in a Schmoedown. When a dude, whoever it is, just knows the answers that day. You just are like, oh, man. Just sit back, eat your popcorn, sip your drink, because you're watching a pro today. And, that's what we saw. I
mean, you could tell he'd done his homework. You tell he's done his studying. Because before, to be honest, this match I was probably looking forward to the least. Because Warfather, I saw his singles match before. I wasn't massively impressed. Alba, I obviously respect what you're saying, Colin, but Albert previously, he seems to be, he's in their teams matches, he's the one that gets carried sometimes. But this guy, no, I'll take that back. He stepped up. He's obviously took it way more serious. I was fully impressed with him. It looked like he was enjoying himself and showing, who the better player was, basically.
Absolutely. And I mean, listen, I also got a bias. I know the Warfather personally. I was there in the war where he got the nickname Father. So I got a little bit of bias for my boy. I was kind of hoping he'd win, but Alba definitely knocked it out of the park. And like you were saying earlier, Bogz, Coy really also was in there as a manager. This was a big match for the Quirky Mercs. This was something that they kind of needed a little bit. So it was nice to see them actually really being able to deliver on that, give a nice meaty win for them.
It's so encouraging and for a manager to get involved like that. To tell him, listen, based on your studying, we're doing this, to help him, as opposed to just saying, oh, how you're feeling and leaving it up to them. And it just shows that the kind of manager goes to that extra care and training with them. So I did appreciate that.
You're definitely seeing some of these managers who have kind of like maybe a love for sports and have always wanted that opportunity to coach.
To manage,
Yeah, Coy and Finstock have that energy, and so does Winston.
I think Sam does as well.
And Sam, Sam comes at it with like the intellectual approach. He's a
player. He knows.
Yeah, he's gonna beat you with his brain, and it's proven to be a pretty solid plan for these guys. But I love Coy's energy, like you were saying, Bogz, about how just making sure his guy's in the right mindset and knowing, look, we talked about this. Yeah. You know this stuff. You know this, and we know that you know this. Boom. Nose on the spinner's choice. And the steal. We got to talk about the steal that sets up the KO. I mean, it's just coming in under pressure again. I probably feel like that would have been a spot where the Greg who usually we saw before probably wouldn't have gotten that steal, as in his righteous
wheelhouse.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. This is definitely more in the wheelhouse of the Real Rejects. It just feels like singles and doubles for these guys. You could throw out a classic, and their whole mindset goes out the window. They're like, I've never seen this movie. You're asking me something about something I've never seen before, and it takes them out of it. At least in Inner Geekdom, you're constantly involved. You feel like you have a chance on every question.
Yeah,
For me,
absolutely.
not so much.
It's
I was
a
just going to say, I
testament to,
agree. Sorry, I was just going to say, I agree with what you're saying because Warfather, a couple of times, I want to say he gave silly answers, but answers that were clearly, guesses. And I think 6 months ago, Alba would have done the same. He would have gave maybe another random guess, but no, he's coming to play and he's coming to get some wins.
It's a great testament to how sometimes that good management and that good just knowing how to play can sometimes supplement gaps in the knowledge, man. It was a great match. I was happy to see it. And I'm excited to watch Greg for sure lose to Kalinowski because he's going to lose to Kalinowski, just like Warfather would have lost to Kalinowski. And that's okay. Sometimes you just know what's going to happen. But now it's time, gentlemen. Scrimshaw versus Dimalanta. Oh, were you about to say one last thing?
I was going to say Kalinowski was.
I
was going to say Kalinowski would be the one guy that I would feel like I would much rather play from my house than in person. If there's anyone, I feel like just the energy he brings in is it's Terminator-like. When dude comes in to that studio to play, he's coming in to, kick some ass and chew some bubblegum. And I've run out of bubblegum. It's like every single time. If
Mike doesn't kill you in the ring, Shannon kills you after.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
That's the way that's a power.
Already slashed your tires in the parking lot, and you're calling an Uber home, and we'll worry about towing your car tomorrow.
I know. And he's carrying that team as well at the minute, the way them not on the rock stars at the bottom, I'm just saying.
Hey, let's talk about our two favorite competitors of this Star Wars division, at least for the moment, Scrimshaw and Dimalanta. This gave me vibes of like when, speaking of Kalinowski, when he went up against Cushing and she managed to beat him on that Ninko versus Ninka. Yeah. Like that kind of energy, that kind of just no holds barred, all out information. This match was phenomenal.
From the start, right? From the very first, when it turned to him, the Christian obviously put the shot on him, and the way he's standing, as if he's like, I felt like I was in the blue corner and he was in the red corner, like he's ready to go. Like the way his expression, his mannerism, his body language, it was like, I ain't moving off this desk till I get that win. I'm sick of it. I love that passion and that commitment to it. It's very, and they even said, I forgot who said it afterwards. It was like it was John Rocha-esque, and I was like, yeah, he's learning. I was so happy for him to get that win.
So
I just love that passion and intensity. Like, I thought he's winning this.
You can just tell.
Absolutely.
Dude wasn't moving. He was
on
I'm not moving from this spot. I'm not missing a question. Yeah. And if you're gonna beat me, you're gonna have to. It's gonna be like a Marikonovic situation. I'm literally gonna be so sick I can't play anymore. You're gonna have to move me off of here. Because it felt like if that first question just...
He was like angry at the camera. He was like, come on, let's go. Let's
go. Let's go right now.
Yeah.
I feel like if the first question of overtime isn't the final question of overtime, we might still be watching the match.
Yeah, probably. But he did say, and I did kind of agree with him, that the longer it did go in overtime, that I think Scrimshaw did have the better chance because just of his kind of overall random knowledge of Star Wars in general. But
it's hard to pull with no categories. It's that no category pull. It can definitely help you.
And I think they addressed it as well. That again, tactics that they were going to look at his exact answers. They planned it to save the challenge as well for his exact answer. So obviously he was going to do it in round 2. I don't actually know what the challenge was, what he was going to do.
So the way he described it was, if he used it in round 2, Scrimshaw's answer was red leader.
Yeah.
And so
what was
did they want red leader, or did they want the real name of the character?
Oh, okay. I didn't realize.
That's what he would have challenged. And so it would have been one of the situations where I guess they call a writer, did you write red leader or did you write this? I guess.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
You can kind of tell when there's a discrepancy in these matches. Yeah. Christian I can kind of tell he's got these pauses.
Yeah, I made that in my notes.
He looks at it and he's like, is this what they put?
It takes like 20 seconds to make
these like, screw it. Next one.
You're gonna challenge it, right? Of course you are. Based on Christian's reaction.
Exactly. It's kind of like, well, is he off
come on,
here?
make a decision. Yeah.
Exactly.
He's like humming and hawing. Kind of right.
Gives it a little extra thought. Maybe stares at it, expects the words to change, but they're not.
Yeah. Another issue I had actually, and it's not even about this match, was the Damon and Witt match. I watched it. Okay, probably deserved winner. And then she high-fived someone at the end of the match. And it's obviously Alex Damon. He's just off camera.
I think he might have ran in.
What's going on? What's going on here?
I'm not co-signing that. I'm not co-signing that.
I'm saying, I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but he could just have a sign off screen just saying, what the answers are. Like, I was thinking, what?
Only thing being is that what we've learned from those two is that this is like, it's come into their house.
Yeah.
The Schmoedown has come in and is now like, oh, do you know more than I know?
Yeah, they can't avoid
the part in the promo when Alex said, if you ever see me look off to the side, I'm usually looking at Molly, and it's because she told me that answer when we were studying. And that's where I'm thinking, like, man, if those two go up against each other, he might quake. I would say that there's more chance for him to be nervous than Molly.
Well, all I'll say about who may or may not be in the room with Alex Damon is, who do you guys think is going to wind up being in the room with him when this tournament is done? Who do you think is going to be the last person standing? Because I've seen a lot of people right now saying they think it's going to come down to Laura Kelly versus now Andrew Dimalanta. Obviously, though, that depends on who wins between Molly Damon versus Andrew Dimalanta. Now that we've seen them both playing, what do you guys think is going to happen?
I genuinely don't know. For some reason, I don't think he's going to win, but for some reason, I do have a soft spot for Ace. Former Jedi Council host, underdog. The way he kind of lost to Parker, I do back the underdogs. And I watch his First Cut, obviously, podcast as well. And like I said,
subscribe to the meaning of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I know he's got the passion and the knowledge, but I don't think he's going to win. I'm just saying, just objectively, I do like him. But winner, I can't pick it, honestly. I can't. But I'm going with Dimalanta, just because on his passion and his intensity. But anyone can win it, to be honest with you.
For sure, yeah. What about you, Colin? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking it's got to be Dimalanta going like head to head against Molly. I mean, as much as you want to somehow see how they would figure out how to have a Damon versus Damon final, as much as I'd like to see the hoops that they'd have to go through to do that, I look at Andrew and I watch him play, and I'm like, that's less of a guy that's playing a game, and that's more of a kid who's sitting in his library. And he's just always reading and watching Star Wars, and he's just picking it out. It's kind of that, it is that Alex Damon mentality, where Alex just goes, all right, pulls that file up and reads that file, and that's the answer. It's kind of how his brain works, I feel like. And Dimalanta's got that energy, and of course, has his own channel as well, so you can tell that there's something about this.
It's like that extra level of...
Right. So we both have the same encyclopedia. What is it on top of that? So now we have to figure out in this exactly who wants it more, who won't crack under pressure. It comes into gamesmanship, all that stuff. And it's going to be who randomly falls onto a 5-pointer that's blasters, vehicles, and objects, and has to pull something out of a 5-pointer like that. Like that, honestly, what most of these matches feel like they're going to have to come down to is a 5-pointer just so far out of left field that you're just,
or what we saw during the matches where the wording of the question can be disputed.
How nerdy do you want?
Or his anger.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Laura Kelly, though, you can't, she's probably the best, female player in the game right now, in terms of her, obviously, subject.
Well, and also, the promo she cut, too. I mean, obviously that was last week, but her promo against Son Sullivan, that's part of why I was like, ooh, I'm really feeling Laura Kelly versus Andrew Dimalanta.
And she's got a win over him as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I wouldn't doubt, like I said, anyone can win it. Anyone can win it.
It's going to be...
Absolutely, man.
tournament. It's just so nice. It's just
Yeah.
it's just got some real heavy hitters, and it's kind of got a bunch of people, like I said, who all have the same encyclopedia like knowledge of this stuff. So it's really it's like watching it's like watching soccer or football. It's like you're waiting for that one break. You're waiting for that first score, and that's what a lot of these Star Wars matches feels like. It's like, all right, we both know this, we both know this, we both know this. There's not a lot of tit for tat like you have in a singles match where it can go from classics to 80s movies to sci-fi, and somebody could get rattled that way. I mean, this stuff is it's different. Star Wars is different.
The last four might all have as in the semi-final. You know, the last four opponents might all have perfect games. It's just who wants it more. You know, who's switched on the most, whose tactics is super interesting. I can't wait.
You can't
absolutely
break.
Listen, if there's anything that's going to motivate me to finally watch those gosh danged prequels, it's the Star Wars bracket.
Whoa.
Haven't gotten there yet.
About? What are you talking about?
Haven't seen a single one of them. But it's not about me. It's about the Schmoedown. It's about these wonderful Star Wars competitors, and it is about the current standings. Now, on the schmoedownlive.com, that's got everything updated through Molly Damon versus Adam Witt. After these past two matches that we have gotten, though, I can tell you that right now we do have a shakeup as far as the rankings go, because with Brandon Hanna's win, I believe that does, in fact, put the Burning Droogs above the usual suspects as far as points. So that's a move up in the rankings. And so that's another thing where it's going to be interesting to see how Molly Damon does for the suspects, how Jen Kemp and Janine do in Inner Geekdom. But right now, the Burning Droogs, like they're on the way up. And especially now with the rumors, I don't know if they're true, but of Ken potentially being eyed to take up the mantle of manager, a guy who's got that experience previously with corruption. It'll be really interesting to see where the future rankings go. Do you guys feel like there's any faction that's really going to be on top undisputedly by the time these tournaments are done?
Is he rumored to be the manager? I didn't know that.
I mean, it's right now it's internet talk, but it's like he's part of the Droogs. He's got the experience. Yeah. You know, who else? You know what I mean?
No, it's a good shout. It's a good shout. In terms of teams that are coming up, I've got my eye on the Dungeon and Kaiser's team. His Inner Geekdom guys, and I'm looking at them, to be honest. But yeah, it's hard to say. I'm a bit worried, like I mentioned before, about corruption and rock stars. I'm not sure, you know, how many quality elite players I've got now, so I think they might be struggling.
Well, I mean, you know, thankfully, I guess for corruption, they do have the elite of the elite. They got the actual corruption boys themselves, Kalinowski and Chance, in that Inner Geekdom.
Oh, of course. So
that'll definitely, I mean, if you want, so that'll certainly be interesting to see. Man, I mean, at this point, I'm just super invested in seeing how things go, you know, especially now with this new kind of faction overlay on top of everything. It's just been interesting to see the shakeups as far as how you approach watching the game, even let alone as a player. Colin, what are you thinking?
It's just been like the best this season for me. Like as a huge fan of regular sports in general. Like I'm a fan of at least one team in every sports. That's what I do for work when the world isn't ending. I do basketball games. I do live sporting events. So I do the video board during games. So sport and all that stuff is huge for me. And to be able to put all these people on teams, like it's not like doubles teams, like real teams, and actually have them be a part of like a family environment has been huge. And then to be able to have it be a part of like to merge all of our favorite personalities from the Collider family, from the Screen Junkies family, from everybody just getting able to come out and just play in this wonderful little sandbox of awesomeness that Christian and Mark created. And now for it to eventually come to this, where it's a full-blown sports thing, the layer of these factions has done nothing but increase the depth of this league. It's something that was already deep before with, you know, if you need senseless drama, please, we have Twitter spats for you. If you need any kind of drama, the Schmoedown has it. Do you need Facebook group fights? We have 20 Facebook groups. Do you need, we got it. Whatever you want, we got it. And now we give you the ability to pick a team and be a fan of a team and follow them for a whole season. I mean, now I'm sitting here looking at corruption like they're never going to recover from these 4 losses. Looking at everybody else throughout the whole season, those 4 losses to start the season, it's going to be something that they're going to have to like contend with for the rest of the year. And when it comes to
that, I was just going to say on the back of that sports reference, he said absolutely teams are a big aspect of this whole thing, but it does come down to the one-on-one play, especially in these digital matches. So I'm personally a big boxing fan, so that's why I loved that intensity that Dimalanta had. So I do like that, the one-on-one. Yes, it's got the team stuff, it's got the management, it's got the tournaments, but it's got the one-on-one when it comes down to it. Are you against this person? Who wants it more? Like anyone who shows that passion and intensity, I'm backing them. That's what I want to see, because that's what I would be like. So I find that relatability, or I like to think I'd be like that. But yeah, it's got the teams, it's got the individuals.
Yeah. Well, my favorite sport is curling, so all of this is completely new to me.
I was going to say the Olympics. I mean, it's got a real Olympic vibe where you got you're rooting for your country, but you're also rooting for yourself more so. Yeah. It'd be nice if the USA gets a medal, but this is my medal. Like, you're not going to.
I'd much rather claim the nation of swag than the United States right now. I don't know how you're feeling.
Of course.
If I had my druthers. Speaking of
by the way, this
swag,
is for I'm wearing a Black Panther t-shirt for the
yes.
Just respect for everyone protesting as well. The people protesting in the UK as well, by the way. But
got my guy right here.
Just for everyone watching, our thoughts are with everyone protesting and standing, fighting a good fight and all that. I just wanted to say that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's always good to just make sure that, we're very, very hard on Black Lives Matter. We got to make sure that we just, pushing that forward, making sure everyone is treated with equality. That's what life should be all about. And one of the things that has been nice to see is the Schmoedown really kind of making that sense of community, really trying to make sure everyone belongs. Like I was saying with Saul, you can see everyone immediately, like even though he lost, everyone is immediately like, dude, you did a great job. And it's great to see, that. It's wonderful to see.
Just on the back of that, I do want to say one thing. Me initially watching the show, obviously John being a Latino, I did get a particular interest in him because just being not many people of color in the show originally when he was in the early days of him competing, I particularly kept my eye out on him and I was backing him fully. So he was kind of carrying the flag on that. Even up until now, I didn't take any interest in him start the season, but Swag, my favorite moment of this season was, I think Ace was playing Parker, and the way obviously they dance and do the the funny dances and stuff, the Fortnite dances I meant, but seeing Ace come out with Winston, RB3, Chandru, and I think I don't know if he was there or not, but in my head he was there. Ayama was there as well, and I thought, oh, that's seeing someone from people from originally from African descent, South Asian descent, East Asian descent, Latino descent, all in one team on one. That's like me. I felt like it was like me, a picture of me and my friends like that. Just people, all colors, all getting on. And I thought, wow, objectively, I thought, whoa, it was just really nice to see someone, the inclusivity and diversity of it, which maybe be missed by other people. Some people maybe thought it was a funny little dance, but no, I thought actually, these guys are caring and
it's the youth.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the youth,
and just how much fun they're having and they're winning.
You can tell.
That's why I'm personally I'm backing Swag as well, because just of how the mix that they've got, and they're just holding it down.
Absolutely. It's it's like I always like to say, it's always better when you invite everyone to the table.
Definitely.
Always makes things better when you're making sure you get.
We can play.
Absolutely. The last thing we're going to be talking about on this episode is looking forward. Right now, only one match has been announced for sure for next week, and that is the final round 1 match of the Star Wars tournament, and that is Andres Cabrera versus Ken Knapsack. Going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. I feel like I might be in the same boat as you, Bogz, from what you were saying earlier. I do feel like, Ken might have the experience to take it, but I do love that underdog, Andres Cabrera. Yeah. I love seeing him on Screen Junkies. I'm conflicted, man. I don't know who I want to watch. I'm just excited to watch it.
What I think is, Yes, objectively, Ken knows more. I think more experience, former champion. But what I think it comes down to is who wants it more. Okay. Yes, Ace took a beating in a geekdom. He's shown that he can play and he can step up. Who wants it more? Ken, is he studying? I don't know. How much does he really want it? Is he doing Christian a favor by competing? I don't know. I'm just saying that Ace can win. Ken, if he's studying, he's probably going to win. I'm not going to lie. But I think it is a bit open there. Tactics will come into it. Passion will come into it. Who wants it more? But, I do love an underdog. So I'm kind of backing Ace.
Absolutely. And what about you, Colin? Who are you picking in that?
I've been sitting here trying to come up with a good Star Wars analogy for what's going to happen here. And if Ken is the Palpatine of this story, okay. Is Ace going to Count Dooku this game? Or is he going to Darth Vader this game?
Ooh.
Because, one is shunned, left behind, and offed by Darth Vader. Spoiler alert. Sorry, John. Spoiler alert for episode 3. A 15-year-old or 17-year-old movie.
Yeah.
But it's probably going to be that Ken is going to end up probably turning it on for this. I have a hard time believing that Ken doesn't come back for this and be like, you think you're going to beat me? I asked you to come on the show. You did not ask me. Like, there's going to be some vibes here of like, I got you on the show. Like, you think you know more than me?
Random question. Do you think Ken would beat Scrimshaw?
They know so much of the same random stuff that they're almost a hive mind. They're almost Force Center, and then you split them apart, and one is Force and one is Center. You kind of feel like whatever they do the battle episodes.
Rule of two, basically.
Yeah. And when they do their show of like the random knowledge, the data bank brawls on Force Center, that's the kind of Star Wars stuff they know. And when you like, those are the kind of things. And when we talk about Dimalanta, when we talk about Damon, you're looking at guys who literally talk about this for a job. Like this is their living off of this stuff. Yeah. And it's going to come down to like that little crevice of like, I found this bit of info that only I know or only somebody else knows. And it's that recall. Recall at the end of the day is going to be the thing here. And it seems like Ken probably has the better recall when it comes to overall Star Wars knowledge. So I'm going to give the edge to Ken. Ace is probably going to put up a hell of a fight. I'll probably say it's probably going to be something like 22-20, something like that.
Oh,
I feel that, yeah. And then on the flip side of that, we don't necessarily know what we're going to get as far as Inner Geekdom when it comes to next week. But I'm going to start with Colin on this. Of the round 1 matches that we're still waiting on to see how they go, is there a round 1 match that you're like especially looking forward to? Like if you could get one match from Inner Geekdom on Tuesday, let's say, what would you want it to be?
Well, it's probably going to be. I need to see players crush in Inner Geekdom. I don't necessarily need to see a single match. I just need to see domination that sets up later rounds of the tournament, because we're going to see Inner Geekdom is going to weed out the non-true believers, as they were. And we're going to find the true believers here in the semifinals and finals, and looking for those guys. They just don't miss. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for those people when they shoot, when they aim for the king, you better not miss. And that's what I'm looking for here. I'm looking for people who don't miss.
Absolutely. What about you, Bogz? What are you looking for?
Probably Chance Ellison against Paul Ayama. Obviously they've not got massive kind of records in the Geekdom. Well, Ayama hasn't played, has he? But yeah, just in terms of elite players, former singles champion against a former double team champion, I think that's the first round pick for me that I'm most interested in. But you can't. Kalinowski's just electric, so whoever he plays, I'm watching. Yeah, so
Kalinowski's definitely going to put on a show. I think probably Chance versus Oyama in singles is still one of my favorite matches that I've seen. So those two are going to put on a clinic. And then as we were talking about earlier, I really think that like one of the biggest battlegrounds for Rookie of the Year this season is going to be Ben Goddard versus Robert Parker. I'm really interested to see how that goes, especially because of like, the way that Ben was talking about it. Like if he loses, then like he's still got a pretty good record in 3 leagues. And, Robert Parker could hypothetically go on and just become the new Kevin Smets. But then on the flip side, if Ben does manage to win it and he unseeds Robert Parker, I'm very invested in seeing how the heck that goes. I'm so invested I'm knocking my earbuds out left and right. And I'm so sorry about it. I don't know how much it's messing with my microphone. And I'm just going to go.
No, you're good.
I take responsibility.
Janine as well. I want to give a shout out to Janine that she could be such a good player, but she doesn't get the rub of the green sometimes. But I'm always looking out for her as well. I don't believe I've seen her in a Geekdom before, so it'll be interesting to see what she's bringing. But she's a interesting player in general.
Yeah, and she's going up against John Humphrey, or is it John Humphreys? I can't remember off the top of my head.
I believe it is
another
plural.
guy.
I believe there are 2.
It's the 2 Humphreys.
There are the 2 Humphreys.
Molded into one. Yeah, another guy who's got like a very interesting record when you look at, how well he did in the second free-for-all, I believe it was.
It was the
he's
first.
Just another guy.
Was that the first?
Was it the first one?
When he came out with the
for
staff,
sure.
and he came out with the Joker out. Yeah. That was a vibe. I was on that vibe. Like I was like, you can stay, dude. That's the kind of energy. If that guy shows up, it's one of those things where it's kind of like an American football reference. Joe Flacco in the playoffs, he had one good run, goes to the Super Bowl. Is that his only thing that he's known for? Because we were talking about that earlier with Greg and them together. Humphreys pulls him along. Do they go well together? Are they better apart? Maybe we'll see. Like just the best chance we'll have to see. So
yeah,
I think John's going to show up. I think John's going to show up and
good
probably
match.
show.
Good match.
Yeah.
Good match. Can't call it really. We'll see. Has he played in a Geekdom before?
I don't think so. No, I think he's like Alba. This is new.
But they love it. I mean, they cover all the. I mean, this is right in their wheelhouse. I mean, we're talking about wheelhouses. You got to find that thing you're comfortable with. And I mean, if it's picking MCU over Marvel, you got to just know what you're comfortable with. Just being comfortable. I think that's the lesson that we saw this week, is that the player who was more comfortable seemed to come through. Whether or not they weren't rattled when the moment came in.
Yeah.
It was too tough. They stood in, they took the lick, and they won. So,
well, I hope you guys had a very comfortable time hanging out with me real quick, talking about the Schmoedown, because that is going to be it for our inaugural episode of the Ultimate Schmoedown Show. We hope all of you watching on Facebook enjoyed it as well. Let us know if you did. If you didn't, I guess you can let us know. I'd rather you didn't, if I'm going to be honest. But, go for it anyway. Who knows? So all we got left, real quick, Colin, is there anything you want to plug right now?
I mean, you can just find me at _C Morris. It's probably somewhere on the screen. Just talking about sports, talking about Schmoedown, talking about the world. So, we got a lot going on in the world. So we're probably talking about it over there. That we do. What about you, Bogz?
Well, first of all, I just want to say absolute pleasure to be here. Like I said, never I don't have I don't really know anyone else personally in my life that I can speak to Schmoedown with. That my family doesn't watch it, my friends don't watch it. I've tried to introduce former girlfriends to it. No one's interested, or they can't get into it, or some other reason. So it's just a pleasure for me to get my opinions out there and to discuss it just in general with with friends and stuff. So that's a pleasure. You can find me at Twitter, it's at Bogz. On Instagram, it's @Bogz. I've also set up a new YouTube channel recently. It's called AB Young Rome. AB Bogz wasn't available, but yeah, AB Young Rome. And yeah, so hit me up. I do reviews and things like that. So yeah, let's discuss.
Awesome, excellent. Yeah, as for me, you can find me at John Barr Tweets on Twitter and on Instagram. I have a YouTube channel. I guess you look up John Barr. I know there's at least one other John Barr who's more popular than me, and he travels around the world. It's whatever. I'm not bitter about it. It's fine. And then also, again, we talked, very little about it. But truly, if you go to my bio on Twitter, I have still linked to the Black Lives Matter. I think it's blacklivesmatter.card with 2Rs.com maybe. But check that out. It's constantly updated with different GoFundMes, different places that you can donate. If you have anything that you can give, please give what you can. And that's about it. It has been a pleasure talking Schmoedown with you guys. It's been a heck of a week to be a fan. I'm so excited to see what comes next. So for the Ultimate Schmoedown Show, saying goodnight. See you next time.